Massive news has dropped this week around a government scheme that could push prices much higher over the next 12 to 24 months. Might not be news you want to hear, but as a first home buyer, you need to know what you can get now versus what you could get in a couple of months' time. I'm talking about the home guarantee scheme, and I'm going to talk to you about what my thoughts are around how this trickles into the economy, as well as the property prices and where they will be over the next couple of months. If you're interested in what my thoughts are, definitely keep watching. Hey guys, my name's Ravi and welcome back to Personal Finance with Ravi Sharma. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button because I talk about real estate, personal development, and all things financial freedom. Now, I would go on to say that after spending 5 years on YouTube, having over 100,000 subscribers, and helping 2,500 clients purchase property across Australia, I've got a unique perspective on this market. I've been investing personally for over 11 years, and I built a portfolio over $20 million. So before you jump into the comment section asking who is this random guy, I just wanted to give you that upfront, and then we'll deep dive into what my thoughts are around what's actually happening and how this can affect you as well. The expanded home guarantee scheme is to kick off in October instead of the 1st of Jan 2026. The government is bringing the start of the expanded home guarantee scheme forward by 3 months with unlimited places, no income caps, and higher property price caps. Straight away, you're gonna know that this doesn't sound like a good idea, and I've said this numerous times before. Yes, you may be a first home buyer and you think this is great news, why is Ravi shitting on it? You need to understand that the market needs to flow by itself. You can't have the government intervene, and they've intervened so often, and every time they have, it makes conditions worse long term for people to afford to be able to buy property. We've seen this over the last 50 years, and I don't think it's gonna change anytime soon. Any first home buyer with a 5% or more deposit may be eligible to apply to have the federal government go as guarantor for up to 15% of their loan. The first home guarantee currently is capped at 50,000 places each year with a maximum income threshold, but both of these limits will be removed come October. The expansion will replace the regional home guarantee, although family home guarantee will still have 5,000 places for the 25-26 financial year. There will still be a limit to how expensive a property first home buyers can purchase through the scheme, but significantly higher. In Sydney, for example, the price cap will go from $900K to $1.5 million. The price caps are now more closely aligned to median dwelling values across each capital city. The whole approach of the government is making sure we're helping first home buyers get into the market and giving people flexibility as much as we can about how they use the government support, she said. So let's take a look as to how it works and then what they're suggesting, or the economists are suggesting, will happen to prices, and then some random YouTube guy, myself, will tell you what I think is going to happen. The first home guarantee scheme means that the government basically provides a guarantor to the lender for up to 15% of the loan. It means first home buyers can purchase property with a deposit as small as 5% and is still avoiding paying LMI. And on a $700K property, borrowing at 95%, LMI could be well over $36,000. So the big question that everyone is thinking about is, wouldn't this push prices much higher? Let's listen to someone who's more qualified on paper than I am. While the home guarantee scheme is backed by the government and the opposition, objections have still been raised. Independent economist Saul Estlake, former chief economist at ANZ, claimed earlier in the year that expanded first home guarantee would likely push up prices. The scheme allows someone who saved up a deposit to say $50,000 and can thus take on a mortgage of $200K without LMI, and so can buy a $250,000 home to instead be able to service a mortgage of say $400,000, he said. With borrowing power thus enhanced, prices will go up. I don't know what the F that means, but I'll simplify it in a bit. Research from PropTrack last year concluded that so far the guarantees have not had a large impact on selling prices, but that was when the first home guarantee was capped at $50,000 per year. With many lenders capping debt to income ratios at 6 times, someone borrowing 95% of a $1.5 million home would need to be earning at least $238,000 to qualify. Borrowing at the top of the price caps in Sydney, for example, would push many borrowers into mortgage stress on average interest rates. And what we can see here is the new guarantee scheme property price caps, what it is currently and what it's changing to. Now, this was supposed to change on the 1st of Jan 2026, so it meant that, hey, we had a little bit more time before getting into the market. Now they've brought it forward to October. It means that Sydney can go from 900 to 1.5. Regional New South Wales goes up by only $50,000. You got the same sort of thing happening in Melbourne. It goes from 800 to 950, whereas regional Vic hasn't changed. And then you got Brisbane going from 700 all the way up to $1 million. But you got regional Queensland going from 550 to 700. And then you got Perth going from 600 to 850. And then regional Western Australia going from 450 to 600. Adelaide is going from 600 to 900. And we see a small increase in regional SA. You've seen increases in Hobart from 600 to 700, and regional Tas is also going up as well. ACT also has a big uplift. Northern Territory is going to remain the same. Now check this out. This is how long it would take on average to save a 20% deposit. So on a 500K home, and again, there's not many out there, it would take 7 years. Let's say you're looking for something around 800K. That would take you 11 years to save for a 20% deposit. However, to save for a 5% deposit, it would only take you 3 years. And that would be the same for say something at $1 million, which will go from 13 years down to 3 years. A lot of people talk about how housing is unaffordable, you can't purchase property, but with schemes like this, it absolutely is easier to get into the market. But that's not the problem here. The problem is that prices continue higher much faster than people's wage growth and savings rates. And not only does the benefit of you getting into the market earlier mean you get property prices a lot cheaper, it also means you save a lot from not having to rent anymore. Now there is a big caveat to this and I'm about to get into it. And the caveat I'm talking about is debt. A lot of people shouldn't be taking on debt full stop. And a lot of people, especially the ones that this scheme is targeting, probably fit that criteria of not looking at debt at all. So when you go out there and you purchase a property at 95% LVR, if the property goes down by 5%, you're screwed because it means now you've entered negative equity territory. I've spoken about this on the channel, but I'll give you a debrief. Essentially, we've been in an environment where property prices continue higher. People will come out and say, oh, well, you can just purchase anything, it'll go up. So what they do is they leverage up as much as they can. You go out there, you purchase a property for say a 90% LVR. So if you're purchasing something for $1 million, you take on debt at 900K. And it means that the property would have to go down by $100,000 before you break even. So your cost is the same. So you got a 900K loan and your property value is 900K. So effectively, if you sold today, you could just go and take out all of your debt. Obviously you've got some other expenses, so I'm simplifying it here. But we've lived in an environment where people don't take the downside risk. They will look at this and say, oh, well, 5% deposit, let me go buy a home to live in. And they go out there, do that, only to find that it's at the worst time of the market and it's an emotional purchase, so you haven't really looked at the data. You purchase something, the market goes down by 5 or 10%, you now have the mortgage you have to pay, and you're also stressed out because you're like, hey, the property is not valued for what it's actually worth. And now, if I sell the property, I'm still gonna have debt left over. That is the worst position to be in. Now, on the flip side, what this does mean is that people will do everything to hold on to their homes. We saw it with interest rates going up. If you own property, you would have done the same thing, and people around you did the same thing, which was, okay, we're gonna cut back because, hey, my mortgage is more expensive, I'm not going to the cafe, we're not going out for that fancy dinner because we need to hold our property. We need to make our repayments. And fair enough, it's your house, that's where you're living. So what happens is when you have so many more people come into the market at 5% deposits, what they're gonna do is hold on for dear life. That now means you have a new foundation in terms of prices that people are not willing to go below. And that means it's going to dry up the market, which means supply will go down because people aren't willing to let go of their property anymore. And if we are in an environment where you see the worst case situation, yes, you could see it cascade where people will now have to start selling shit and they'll have to sell their home, but chances are they will do everything possible before they let that happen. I've got a video coming out next on this channel, which is about market cycles and why people shouldn't wait for the crash. So definitely subscribe to the channel because this concept that I'm talking about is closely linked with that one. So what we're effectively doing is by going and saying that there's a new scheme and instead of Jan, we're bringing it into October. In addition to that, we have interest rate cuts. And then you see the supply numbers, you're only seeing prices go in one direction. When looking at this graph here, you see dwelling completions in Australia. Albo's got this weird idea that he's gonna somehow hit this number, but no government's ever been close. And so what you see is that we're not producing enough homes. And the latest immigration numbers make this look even scarier. Because now you've got demand from external forces, which is people coming into the country. You then have people in Australia being able to buy because interest rates drop. And then in addition to that, you have schemes like this that the government introduced to address affordability. It only benefits one group of people. And that group of people are the ones that can buy right now. I'm not even talking about the ones that can buy on the 1st of October because they have the 5% deposit ready, they know what they want to purchase, they have the borrowing capacity. They will benefit, yes, of course. But the ones that really benefit are the people that can buy right now. The reason being is that you can go into the market knowing that there's something coming into the market which is going to pump demand into this market. If you invest in stocks, it's like saying, okay, I know that the earnings report's going to come out and I've already had a look at the earnings reports and I know as a result of this and the outperformance of the company, there's going to be a lot more eyes on this company, which means more demand's coming in. But I can purchase it today. That's exactly what's happening with the real estate market. You know there's incoming demand, you know the supply situation, which means that's not going to change anytime soon, and I estimate it's going to take a good 16 to 18 months before we see notable supply come into the market, because yeah, approvals are increasing, but completions are nowhere near where they need to be. So that means you have a unique opportunity, a unique window to get in before this demand comes in. Now, the next group of people that will benefit are the ones that can buy on the 1st of October. And that's really good news for anyone that wants their own home. I would still go on to urge you to think, is there an alternative plan? Should I actually be buying my own home, or should I be doing something like rent vesting? It's exactly what I've been doing, and I've been investing in property for 11 years. There's a reason why the really wealthy people are doing this, and that's what I'm learning from. I understand why they're doing it, but I also understand that people want a home. It's an emotional attachment, and I think what you need to do is stay logical as long as possible and then make the emotional decision. But again, I can't give you that sort of advice because that's emotional advice, and I don't know how to do that. So when you bundle up all of these things together, just strip it back to say one thing. If the government gets involved, you better believe affordability is actually declining. And in the next 12 months, we're going to see something like this will play out similar to how we saw when the home builder schemes came in and everyone was like, oh my God, the government loves us, they're going to give us money. And what happened was ultimately prices went higher. And so everyone that could buy loved life. Anyone that had assets were loving life even more. And the ones that missed out were the ones that are screwed over right now. They can't get into the market. This sort of stuff helps you get in, but then you're locked into a property that you probably don't want to be having. And then you've sold this dream that, hey, at least you own your home, but it's in an area you don't like. And now you've got a mortgage that absolutely destroys your lifestyle. I think there are better options out there. That's the sort of stuff I talk about on this channel. If you need help around investing in property rather than just purchasing your own, then definitely use the links in the description box below. You can book in a free call, chat to a team of experts that know exactly what's happening, exactly how to do it, and get to your end goal faster. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and again, subscribe because the next video on this channel is about market cycles, and oh man, I'm nerding out on that one. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks guys.